ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ನಾನು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಯನ್ನಕ್ಕಿ, ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಸಹ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಪ್ರಥಮ ದರ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲೇಜು ದಾಂಡೇಲಿ. ಇಂದು ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಧಾರವಾಡದ BA ದ್ವಿತೀಯ ಸೆಮೆಸ್ಟರ್ದ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಾಚ್ಯಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ವಿಷಯದ 11ನೇ ಅವಧಿ ಇದರ ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತನಾಡಲು ಇಚ್ಛಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ವಿಷಯ ದಿ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಕಾಂಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹರ್ಷವರ್ಧನ. ವರ್ಧನ ವಂಶದ ಹರ್ಷವರ್ಧನನ ಸೈನಿಕ ಸಾಧನೆಗಳ ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತನಾಡಲು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವರ್ಧನ ವಂಶ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂತು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೋಡೋದಾದರೆ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿ ಫಾಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಗುಪ್ತಾಸ್ ಮೆನಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಎಮರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ನಾರ್ದರ್ನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸದರ್ನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. Vardhan dynasty of Kanauja, Maitrikas of Vallabi, Maukri of Kanauja, Gauda of Bengal, Varma at Kamrup in Assam, and Gurjara in Rajputan were the important dynasties emerged in northern India. In southern India, the Chalukyas of Badami and Pallavas were emerged. Vardhan dynasty was one among them which ruled northern India. Pushyabhuti was the founder of this dynasty, hence it is also called as the Pushyabhuti dynasty, but it is popularly known as Vardhan dynasty. He was a subordinate in Gupta Empire. Taneshwar, which is presently in Haryana, was their capital city. He defeated the Gupta king who was unable to defend his kingdom. Hence, Pushyabhuti declared his independence. Prabhakara Vardhana was the first important ruler of this dynasty. He had two sons and a daughter, namely Rajavardhan and Harshavardhan were the sons, and Rajasri was his daughter. Harshavardhan was the important ruler of this dynasty. Prabhakara Vardhana and Yashomati were his parents. She committed sati in 1605 after the death of her husband Prabhakara Vardhana. This is about the introduction of Vardhan dynasty. Let us see about Rajasri's incident. Rajasri, who was the daughter of Prabhakara Vardhana, was married with Maukri ruler of Kanauj, namely Grihavarmana. Soon after marriage, the Hunas invaded Kanauj, so Rajavardhan went to defend Kanauj. In this attack, Grihavarmana was killed and kidnapped Rajasri by Devagupta of Malwa. In the meantime, Prabhakara died in 1605 AD, so Rajavardhana went against Devagupta and killed him and released his sister Rajasri. Gauda king of Bengal, Shashanka, invited Rajavardhana to his kingdom and treacherously killed him. Rajasri fled to forest in order to protect herself. Then Harsha protected her and made her queen to rule Kanauj. Then she embraced Buddhism and handed over her kingdom to Harshavardhana. Thus, after the death of Rajavardhan, Harshavardhan came to power at the age of 16 in 1606 AD. Let us see about the military conquest of Harshavardhana. In the beginning, at the outset, he invaded Bengal. After the death of Grihavarman, Rajasri was kidnapped and Rajavardhana was murdered. These were the brutal acts marred the prestige of the Vardhan dynasty. In these activities, the king of Bengal, Shashanka, helped to the ruler of Malwa, Devagupta. Hence, it was inevitable to Harshavardhan to punish those who were responsible for those acts. Hence, he decided to invade upon Bengal. In these invasions, he was assisted by Bhaskar Varmana of Kamrup, who wanted to take revenge against him, but he could not succeed in defeating him. After 1637, there are references about the rule of Shashanka's inscriptions. It was after his death, Bengal was conquered by Harshavardhan. Even part of Magadha and Orissa were in Bengal province. It was in 612 AD he shifted his capital from city Taneshwar to Kanauj. His second attack, friendship with Bhaskar Varma of Kamrup. Bhaskar Varmana was in Assam. He had hatred against the Gauda king of Bengal, hence he made a friendship with Harshavardhana, and together they helped each other in invading Bengal. The third war is with Pulikesi, which is popularly known as the Battle of Narmada. Harshavardhana assumed the title of Uttarapradeshwara after establishing his supremacy in northern India. Similarly, Pulkesi II assumed the title of Dakshinapateshwara after defeating minor rulers in Karnataka. Hence, the question of Lord of India was aroused in the minds of both of them. Hence, both of them decided to test their strength in the battlefield. They selected the river bank of Narmada, which formed the geographical boundary between north and south. Both the rulers organized a huge army, which is known as Karnatak Bala, that is organized by Pulkesi II. Both the armies met on the river bank Narmada in 632 between 634 AD. Harsha was defeated. Even then, Pulkesi did not make any venture to capture it or rule it. He assumed the title of Parameshwara. Next conquest is on Vallabhi. The kings of Saurashtra, that is Gujarat, like Shiraditya I, Karagraha, Dharasena III, Dhruvasena II, Baladitya, and Dharasena IV were the contemporary rulers of Harshavardhana. They joined hands with the Gurjaras and became more powerful for the political supremacy and establishing unity in northern India. It was essential to Harshavardhana to conquer it. So he invaded upon Saurashtra and defeated Dhruvasena. Then they accepted the supremacy of Vardhan dynasty. Dhruvasena gave his daughter to Harshavardhana and accepted his political supremacy. Let us see about other wars fought by Harshavardhana. Sindh, which was far away from their capital, was not conquered by Prabhakar Vardhana. Nepal and Kashmir were also untouched by Vardhan rulers. Both Bana and Huensang mentioned about these things in their works. The reasons must have been the coverage of ice. He convened the Mahasammelana of Buddhism in Orissa, reveals that he must have captured Orissa also. Large number of Buddhist monks from Nalanda attended this function. After this religious conference, king confirmed revenue of 8 towns to Jayasena, a great scholar of Buddhism. Now let us see his relationship with China. China, the neighboring country of India, was very much attracted by the principles of Indian religions like Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism. Principles of these religions are one and same, but Chinese were very much attracted by the principles of Buddhism. So, large number of youths who came to India to study Buddhist literature, to visit the holy places of Gautam Buddha, and to collect Buddhist literature. Among them, Huensang was the most important pilgrimage, who considered as king of pilgrimages. He gave account of the political condition of his country. Harshavardhana was felt happy with this description and decided to send his embassy to China in 641 AD. In return, Chinese embassy came to India under the leadership of Wang Sunge in 643 AD. The king of China, very happy after learning the respects they received in India, hence he decided to send second team to India. But before the arrival of members of the team, Harshavardhana breathed his last in 643 AD. As a result of the visit of these teams, the number of visitors from China to India increased rapidly. This helps for the systematic study of Buddhism in India. They stayed here for a decade and they wrote travel accounts which spread the message of Buddhism. This is how Buddhism became very popular in not only in China but also in all other Asian countries. And let us see the conclusion. Harshavardhana proved himself as a great administrator and great king. He assumed the power at young age. He exhibited liberal attitude towards Buddhism and convened the Third Buddhist Council under the leadership of Huensang. He was a great scholar of Sanskrit who wrote 3 dramas. Bana, a famous court poet, wrote 2 books which throw light on the history of Harshavardhana. He gave royal patronage to the development of education. Nalanda emerged as an international center of higher education. During his rule of 34 years, he brought political unity in India. These are some of the reference books of this topic. Thank you very much.